Pastor James, and we are on site again filming these videos about being a good neighbor. We are here at Kensington neighborhood, just a normal neighborhood subdivision in the city, just to help you understand that what we're talking about is not applied in some conceptual way to some other people, some other place, but to your very neighborhood and to the people around you. That's what we want you to focus on when we talk about being a neighbor. You know, we've talked about why we should care about our neighbor, but who's our neighbor? That's a question that a person came to Jesus and asked him, because Jesus has said, the two great commandments are love God and love your neighbor. And he said to him, well, who's my neighbor? And I think the person asked that question in order to shrink down the number of people he had to think about and to care about as a neighbor. And particularly, he was trying to ensure that his neighbor, people defined as neighbor, were people like him. And Jesus told a story, and the story is a story we're very familiar with. It's called the story of the Good Samaritan. And the story is simple. It's in Luke 10. It is about a man who is beaten up by robbers and left on the side of the road to die. And two good men, religiously good people, walked by and didn't want to touch him, didn't want to get involved. And a Samaritan, an outsider into that Jewish culture, saw the man, had compassion, put him on his own donkey, took him to an inn, gave money to the innkeeper to care for him, and then said something that's really pretty significant. He says, whatever other expenses he has, I am willing to take care of it. And so the Samaritan was, for this person, giving everything. He was generous towards this person who was not like him. This person presumably was Jewish. The Samaritan was a person that the Jews considered to be enemies, but the Samaritan showed love to somebody not like him. Who's your neighbor? Well, Jesus is trying to say to you, the people around you, all people of every type, of every class, of every nation, every tribe, every tongue, every skin color, are your neighbors. It's not just your friends. It's not just people with your same education level, affluence, race, whatever. It's not just your people. It's everybody. There's no one that lives to your left or to your right or across the street or anywhere in your subdivision that doesn't fall under that definition of neighbor, at least in terms of the way Jesus put it. And so what we want to encourage you to do in this neighbor process is to expand your view of your subdivision, of your neighborhood. Look around you, not just the people you know, but most importantly to the people you don't know. Take a moment to find out who they are. Here's one simple step that you can take, and that is whenever you see somebody walking around your subdivision or your neighborhood, just stop and ask them what their name is. First step in this whole process is just know the names of the people in your neighborhood and then go back and write it down. Maybe you want to put a grid of your neighborhood and put houses there to indicate where the people are around you, and then begin to fill in those spots with names. Just know the names of your people. And because when you know their names, you will begin to build a relationship, and that's going to lead beyond knowing the name. First, you may know their name. Second, time you meet them, you may find out a little bit more about them, may find about their job or their hobbies, and that will take you to the next step in a relationship. And the next time, you're already going to know their name, you're going to know their job and their hobbies, and you may find out about their kids or grandkids or relatives or things like that. You want to expand your vision of who your neighbor is. It's not just the people immediately to your left, your right, or across the street. It's everybody in your neighborhood. It's people like you and it's people not like you. It is everybody. And Jesus has a big vision for the kinds of people he loves, and he wants us to have that kind of same big vision. So I invite you into that process of getting to know your neighbor.